Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Here's the Deal
with Dalton and Donna.
So, here's the deal. These past few weeks have put us in uncharted waters. Hearing statistics of the havoc the coronavirus has already caused and the predictions for what is yet to come has certainly been a lot. We've experienced things we have never experienced before. Schools shutting down, cancellation of so many things. I mean, who'd have ever thought that something would come our way that would cancel both professional sports and Hollywood in one fell swoop? Unheard of. How about stay-at-home orders and quarantining and social distancing? I don't think I've ever used those two words together in a sentence before this. And now that's an actual new compound word, social distancing. And some of the regular fallout of all these new things that we're experiencing have been various types of loss. Loss of life, of course, at an alarming rate that everyone just happens to be aware of right now. Loss of jobs, loss of activities, loss of opportunities, loss of income, loss of time spent with family and friends, and just loss of normal interaction with people. Loss, loss, loss. And with loss comes grief, a very organic grief. And though we are striving to be people who lean into faith rather than give into fear, or our attempts to use positive words and take positive actions, we are still not exempt from grief. Faith does not rescue us from the normal consequences of the losses we're experiencing. And while grief is a pretty natural part of life, as situations come and go for people, it seems like everyone is dealing with some type of grief and loss right now, and we're doing it all at the same time.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Grief is a tricky subject. And the reason it's tricky is because we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to let people know we're experiencing it.
We don't know what to say.
We don't know what to say. We feel uncomfortable if other people are grieving.
Yeah.
We don't really want them around us. They're kind of, a buzzkill. We want you to self-isolate, quarantine yourself if you are grieving. And yet, it is a very natural and normal part of life. And here in this time where we're all experiencing losses in one way or another, we're all going to be hit with grief at one level or another. And the reason that this is important to talk about is because it's important for you to figure out how to deal with it. And while you might have an easy time recognizing grief in other people, you probably have a pretty difficult time recognizing it in yourself. This is one of those things that if you haven't dealt with it before, you may not understand it. You may not really know what to do with it. When I was in high school, my twin brother and I, we kind of were experiencing a lot of the same things, and we had similar issues that we ran into with our parents splitting up and with a bunch of other things. And we both dealt with that in two very different ways. My brother played a lot of video games. He was kind of what I would call escapist behavior. He kind of ignored what was going on. Now I was not happy about it, was letting everyone know I was not happy about it, and I was grieving. And because I did that, I got through it. And now, many years later, as I kind of look back on this, and I'm watching and having conversations with my brother, I'm finding out he's now dealing with the stuff he didn't deal with years and years ago. He never got past it. He never got through it. So grief is an important part, and it is very important for you to recognize that grief in yourself. Mourning is normal. In fact, in the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount, you have this Beatitude section, and in verse 4 of that first chapter, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." What should you do when you realize that you're grieving? What should you do?
What should you do? Yeah.
You can talk to your parents. You can talk to an adult that you trust. And
Maybe that's huddle leaders, people here at church. Could be even somebody at school, an adult that you trust.
Yeah, teacher, administrator, somebody like that. The important reason to get through that is, one, you can get stuck in it for years. But two, if you don't deal with your grief, you're not going to be in a healthy position to help others who are in need of your help. The people that God puts in front of you, you can't heal, you can't help, you can't work with, because you're not in a healthy place.
And also, once you have done the hard work of working through something like grief, you also are more prepared to help someone else when you recognize that in them, or they come to you when they're grieving, and you kind of have walked that path before, and then you know more about how to work through it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we have written up some conversation starter questions and a few scriptures that we invite you families to dig into when you have some time to do that. We think this is a very important topic, and we hope that you'll carve out some time to spend doing that. So check the most recent remind text and the attachment that came with that, or you can find it on our Refuge Update email and attachment there. Well, I think that's it for this episode 4 of Here's the Deal.
With Dalton and Donna.
Bye, guys.